Folks, going to Seattle and putting on that offensive clinic, Emeka Egbuka, folks, we have a star. Period. We got an offensive rookie of the year. Baker Mayfield still has a chip on his shoulder, but he's using it as fuel to get him fired up. He's not reckless. He's not throwing interceptions. He's always been a smart kid. He's playing very smart football, and they're doing it without Bucky, Irving, and Mike Evans. So this team's doing that not fully loaded. Tampa at 2.
Touchdown! Egbuka right on the money. Mayfield with a touchdown throw. And the Buccaneers are back on top.
All right, baby, what it do?
What's happening, brother?
Man, not much. You know, I thought since you've just recently moved down to the Tampa Bay area that we would just kick it right to your neck of the woods and jump straight into a Tampa Bay Buccaneers conversation, because I got a couple of questions for you.
Let's do it.
I think the reason why they're so on my mind is because of that absolute just masterclass beauty of a football game that took place in Seattle just this past Sunday. Like, that was one of the best games of the year. Maybe the best. I don't know. It's up there on a short list. But I'm watching the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win that game. And, you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers got Tristan Wirfs back. That was a big thing for me of, like, I want to see how they look. And Tristan Wirfs actually had, like, a great block on that game-tying throw that Baker hit to Shepard in that Seattle game. I think this team is super, super real. However, I think that we do this thing in the football world, and you and I did this. We picked them to win the division. They've won it, 2 years prior. I think they're going to win it again soundly. And we all love Baker Mayfield. We all like this team. And we always pick them to win a really bad division, and we call it courage. It's the worst division in football. I think we can all agree there. But, it's not real. It's not real courage. Like, what we do is we take this team and we say, like, yeah, Baker's really great, and Mike Evans and Emeka Egbuka looks like a rookie of the year, and Bucky Irving is great, and Tristan Wirfs, and they're so well run, and and so many of these things are true, and we'll get to it, right? I think the transition of power from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield has been a more peaceful transition than any of us anticipated, even Baker believers like us. Like, it really is the house that Tom built, right? And I know Jason Light's been the GM since 2014, and he does a great job of drafting and developing, but it seems like every year we picked them to win the NFC South. Baker looks better and better. It doesn't matter who the OC is, right? They lost Canales. They bring in Cohen. That works seamlessly. They lose Cohen. The offense still looks great this year. It's and I like both of those guys, right? But we're now in the phase where, like, this Tampa Bay Bucs team is getting coaches hired. Like, they're getting head coaching jobs because of how well this team's playing every year. And I guess my question to you is, like, number one, are you ready to put them in the Super Bowl window? And number two, if not, why do you feel like that's the majority of us? Like, the majority of us are so deeply in like with the obvious greatness of this team the last few years, but we never seem to put them in there with the Detroits, the Phillies in the NFC. Like, they're always one step behind for us, no matter what they do. And has that changed for you this year?
No. I think it's the same, and I think I can answer your question honestly.
Yeah,
I think it's ultimately, like, at least for me. And I would probably, I don't want to speak for you, but I think I can comfortably speak for you here. I think it's a Todd Bowles issue. Do any of us really trust Todd Bowles in the end of the day? Because I don't. I trust Todd Bowles as a DC, kind of, But this is an offensive league, and you saw when, like you were just saying, you saw when Tom Brady came in. And let me even go back further, but to touch on another point that you have, Jason Light is the most underrated GM in the league, in my opinion.
Agreed.
He has done such a good job with that team, and he did such a good job that he fell into the same category that a lot of these people fall into, which is, we have the team, we don't have the quarterback. You know what I mean? And I love Jameis Winston as much as the next guy, but we all know that he wasn't it, and it's a shame that he wasn't it, because Tom came in and won year one, and Baker, like you just said, has taken over this team, and it's been pretty flawless. I mean, have they won 4 straight divisions? Is that
they've won it? They won it in 21, 22, 23, and 24. And the 22, 23, and 24 Bucs are all Baker renditions. But just to give it some. Again, I think this is part of the conversation. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do think it's part of the conversation that in 2022 they were 8-9 and they won. Like there is a little bit of that where it's like, you know what I mean? And they were 9-8 and 23 and they won it. And it's like, I think that is part of it for people. They never feel like world beaters. But go ahead.
So they've won the division the last 4 years, and like you just said it perfectly, right? Like one of those years was 8-9. It's been funky. It's a pretty easy division to win. So when I just, again, this is such an offensive driven league, and I think that's why it's so fun to watch this team right now, because they've kind of had this defensive identity, particularly under Todd Bowles, right? Like their head coach is a defensive guy, and when they won it, Bruce Arians, great offensive mind. We saw him for years, Steelers, Cardinals, yada yada yada. So when Todd Bowles took over, I feel like, at least from my perspective as somebody who pays attention to this game to kind of a gross amount, I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. And I don't think I was right, but I don't think I was wrong. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like I don't love this team when push comes to shove, I guess is what I'm saying.
Do you feel like you were wrong about the floor, right about the ceiling?
Yeah, no, I think that's correct. They're just when you look at this year in particular, right? Baker's playing out of his mind. The team is 4-1, and you have all these people saying, "Oh, is Baker Mayfield the MVP?" And where people just like you and me, you posing the question, why should we put the Bucs in that Super Bowl bubble? And to me, they've been in 4 dogfights with 4 teams that aren't like world beaters. You know what I mean? And that's not because of the offense. I mean, we just talked about it. Baker Mayfield is playing at an MVP level. Emeka Egbuka has Offensive Rookie of the Year completely locked up, barring any injury, 5 weeks in. He looks like, he's like one of the 4 best receivers in the league right now. It's not even debatable, right? So when I look at this schedule, I go, okay, you barely etched out the Falcons. You barely etched out the Texans. You barely etched out the Jets. You lost to the Eagles, and then you had a showdown with the Seahawks. But these keep coming to who can Baker outduel, right? So in that regard,
and real quick, I mean the one loss the one team you said that they didn't play any world beaters. I would argue like Philly's the only one, and you lost that.
And they lost. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And they were down 31-13 at one point. They were 31-13 at one point, and they did come back and make it a 1 score. Like they were in it at the end, but it's kind of like
classic Matthew Stafford fake comeback.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford style fake comeback, but again, it's like you didn't take that game, and you let them like beat you enough that it was like even when you came back, it was too much at the end. Like they weren't going to win that game.
So that's kind of my like long-winded, like annoying, knowledgeable football take of why I don't believe in them, and it really is as simple as I just don't really believe in Todd Bowles when it push comes to shove. They're going to win the division. They're going to be like a 3-4 seed, and I think they could win a playoff game. I really do.
I mean they won one 2 years ago.
Yeah. And they gave Detroit a good battle, right? And when they had to come to Detroit, that was a good game. But did you ever feel like we were losing that game?
No, and I mean to me they really feel like never the bride, always the bridesmaid.
Yeah,
like it's just 100%. It feels they just feel like a warm-up team for the eventual NFC champion to kind of do it, or the other team.
And frankly, like we kind of alluded to initially, like it is a problem on the defensive side of the ball. Like you do have Tristan Wirfs, you do have Baker Mayfield, you do have Bucky Irving, you do have Emeka Egbuka, and then you also have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, right? Like you have McMillan coming back at some point this year. Who's the Graham Barton? Is that the center they took last year?
Yep.
I mean this team,
out of Duke,
this offense, this offense is like really loaded. I love this offense. But then when I look at the defense, I'm like, God, there's an old Vita Vea. There's old boy Levante David. There's
and he had a game-winning pick in that Seattle game, and it's
I know he did, and he's great, but not is he as consistent as he was 5, 6, 7 years ago? Like no. And then you have Antoine Whitfield Jr., who's all pro. He's amazing. But the rest of that defense, outside of kind of those 3 names, it's a lot to be desired. It really is.
Well, and I think it's tough too because offensively, you've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Those guys are carryover from the Super Bowl run.
Sure. Yeah.
But defensively, the three guys that you just named, who I agree with you are all great veteran players, are also carryovers from the defensive side on that run. But it doesn't feel like there's a new guy that we look at and go, but they also added this guy since, who's like a year 2 or a year 3
That's what
player.
they're missing.
Yeah,
They're missing like
I agree with
premier
that.
edge rusher too. Like they really need to go get a premier edge rusher. That would solve a lot of the problems. You know what I mean? That would solve a lot of their defensive problems.
Yeah, it's just interesting. I wanted to touch on them because I do think I agree with you. I think they're a lock to be a playoff team. They're a lock to be in the mix. They're a lock to, Baker Mayfield's a lock to not win MVP, but be discussed along the lines during the season of he's not going to win. Everyone who's saying he's going to win.
Josh Allen.
They're not giving it to him. He's not that guy.
Way.
He is the quintessential other man. He's the second. He's always going to be
coming third in voting.
Yeah. He's always going to be Jared Goff, CJ Stroud.
Josh Allen, yes,
yeah,
100%.
Where it's like they deserve it. Like 1 year they have a great year. Dak Prescott's in that mix too of guys. That's like, should he be at this year? And then it's just not
the
him.
King of that.
Yeah,
you came second in MVP voting.
Yeah, I think it's just
like Josh Allen,
second place. Baker Mayfield.
Patrick Mahomes will be in there somewhere because he's going to throw for 6,000 yards and 100 touchdowns, and their team is going to be mid, so he won't win it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just what it is.
Yeah, it's interesting. I look. I mean, I think I'm keeping an eye on them. I thought that game in Seattle was amazing. They're doing the right things. Bucky Irving will get back healthy. Some of these players, Mike Evans, who's also out with injury. But I'm with you. They're still not my pick, and I think you've answered a lot of my questions. And I think Todd Bowles is kind of standing right in the middle of it. Like too good to fire, not good enough to win a chip with.
Yeah, don't you just feel a lot better about this team if like Liam Cohen is the coach or like Dave Canales is the coach? Ironically, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't you just kind of feel like, or like they got Ben Johnson or something, like like just an offensive, like a young offensive mind. I feel like, okay, wait, hold on, this team might fuck around and do it.
Yeah, and it's very Sean McDermott in the sense that it's an offensive-driven football team with a defensive head coach that never feels like the defense is the reason that they win the big one, but they are like oftentimes are the reason they lose the big one. Like they can't get a stop, and they're definitely not a great defense, but they're not a bad enough defense for it to be noticeable, right? So it's just kind of they fall in that weird zone.
Defense definitely doesn't suck. I'm purely talking about like, can you go into the playoffs and win 3-4 games? I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Possible. Can you win a wild card? Can you win a divisional? Can you win the NFC Championship? Can you win the Super Bowl? That feels like a no to me. I'd love to be wrong, by the way. Like I really would. I'm a big fan of the Bucs, but I just know what I know, right? Like just something about this defense don't smell right.
Yep. I mean that's valid, and I look. I mean. Like, comment, subscribe, guys. Let us know if you're gonna be watching the Bucs. I'm kind of with you on it. I know that they're good enough that we're gonna be plugged in all year to like every week. I mean, they're playing the Niners this week. That feels like a winnable game. It'll be another kind of good one. Yeah. So I mean, that's it, man. That's it. I just want to talk about the Bucs for a minute. So I'll see you in the next one, buddy.
Peace.